Hi there everybody and welcome back to the channel. So I'm doing another episode of Let's Talk, but I'm doing a little bit of a different format where I'm just going to talk about interesting things that I've noticed in Battlefield, different metas, different weapons, stuff like that. Specifically in this episode, we're going to be looking at the medic class in Battlefield 5 and what I think personally is the best class in Battlefield 5 by quite a considerable margin, and let me kind of explain why. So if you look at previous Battlefields and the health system, you could always regenerate up to 100 health. Now that changed with Battlefield 5. Now depending on how much damage you took, you'd regen up to a certain point. But basically the premise is that you don't regen to full health anymore, which makes that health pack so much more essential to win gunfights. Because if you're not at 100 health, like even if you have really good aim, you're going to be at a disadvantage right off the bat. And not only does not the health bag per se, but the health pouch you get in Battlefield 5, that allows you to heal almost instantly, which is even more powerful than a lot of the health kits like in Battlefield 4, where you had to kind of place, where everyone used to kind of the med kit where you place it down and you had to stay in a spot. You can literally pop this thing and just start running and getting full health all the time, which is actually really strong. No other class has the opportunity to do that. And not only has Medic been buffed, in my opinion, in Battlefield 5, you've also had nerfs to the other classes. So taking a look back at Battlefield 4 again in terms of the engineer class, so the anti-vehicle class, the RPG, which a lot of people use, generally did kind of around 30 damage. It's here or there, but it's around that 30 damage mark. Now, I played with the assault class in Battlefield 5 recently, the anti-vehicle class in Battlefield 5, and the weapons in that, like the Panzerfaust, barely does any damage, it feels. Like I hit something for 15 and you only get 2 Panzerfaust. Like it's not a lot. I think there's one other way you get 3. But even still, with if you're a solo player playing as engineer on Battlefield 4, you had a good chance of taking out a tank. Now, admittedly, that tank driver would have to be really shit for one infantry player to take him out. But you had the opportunity to, so you didn't have to completely rely on your team. Now, some people might say, oh, this is a good thing, it's good for Battlefield to encourage teamwork. But for me, it's pretty demoralizing when you go up against a tank and you have no chance of killing it with a long range weapon. And yes, I can rely on my team, but I mean every Battlefield player knows if you're playing solo especially, relying on your team to do like a coordinated attack like that without comms, it's exceptionally difficult. So kind of getting back to the point, things have been nerfed. Like the engineer class or the assault class in Battlefield 5 has actually received a nerf because it's doing less damage per shot for the Panzerfaust and the RPG did in Battlefield 4, and it's also carrying less shots than the RPG did in Battlefield 4. And compounding that effect as well, the way tank play happens in Battlefield 5 is very different to tank and vehicle play in Battlefield 4. Vehicle play in Battlefield 4, you had some campers, but generally it was a lot more aggressive. You had the LAV, people were getting more in your face because the vehicles were faster, they are more maneuverable, so people felt more comfortable kind of getting out their comfort zone. With Battlefield 5, the meta for tanks is very campy. Like the tanks are a lot slower, they're harder to maneuver, which means people generally sit back in the tanks. And that means it's even more important to have kind of a Panzerfaust or an RPG that can actually get them at longer ranges. Like people argue, oh yeah, but you had dynamites and anti-tank grenades in Battlefield 5, which would allow, if you landed all that, would allow you to take out a single tank. The thing is these tanks are camping so far back that C4 or dynamite and the anti-tank grenades don't become that viable. And in compounding that again, Battlefield 5 has removed smoke grenades from all classes apart from Medic, which we'll move on to a bit why I think, again, this makes Medic very strong. But that means you don't even have smokes as an assault player in Battlefield 5 to get up close to the tank to detonate the dynamite and the anti-tank grenades. So it makes Medic even stronger. And moving on to kind of the smoke grenades were always strong. Doesn't matter what battlefield. Like if you're trying to cap objectives or move across the open ground, smoke grenades are always strong. The one kind of counter was people could actually spot you through the smoke grenades in 4 and previous games, and then they became less effective. But now in Battlefield 5 they've removed the spotting system, so you can't actually spot enemies unless you're a recon player with the spotting flare. But every other person can't actually spot anybody. So the smokes have had a buff in many ways because you now literally can't be seen through them once you put it down, apart from the spotting flare. And that means Medic because it's the only class that has access to smokes, is once again put on another level to the other classes. And it's not like the medic's short on smokes either. They get 2 standard smoke grenades, and I also chuck on the smoke grenade launcher, which it has, and then you get an extra 2 grenades there. So you've literally got 4 smoke grenades, making it so easy to cross open ground. And the maps on Battlefield 5, a lot of them there's a lot of open spaces on a lot of them, to say the least. Like, somewhat too much. Like, if you're playing Panzerstorm on Breakthrough or something, you're going to need smoke grenades if you're an infantry player trying to push across a lot of that ground, because it is just ridiculously open. And in addition to all of that, moving away kind of from the equipment of the medic, the weapons of the medic are really, really strong. Like, if anybody used the Type 2A or the Suomi, man, those guns are good. If you can get the recoil under control and you can get some good tap fire going, those guns are real good to contenders for Top Gun. And in terms of like close range, let's exclude shotguns for a second. In terms of the close range, they are the best guns. Like, the Type 2A probably is the best gun. I've only been using it recently after Ed, my friend, recommended to use it instead of the Suomi, because it's been a while since I played Battlefield 5. If anyone's been watching this channel for a bit, they've been seeing I've been playing on BF4 for, I don't know, the last 2 or 3 weeks, but I've got a bad BF5, and the Type 2A is a absolute beast. So, kind of just to summarise my thoughts on this Let's Talk, I just think the medic's ridiculous in Battlefield 5. You've got instant health regeneration up to 100%, which no other class has. You have access to smoke grenades, and not just 1 or 2, 4 smoke grenades if you really want to kit it out, which are even more powerful than they normally are, because you can't be spotted through them that easily without the spotting flare, obviously. Point 3, the weapons are exceptionally strong on the medic class, the Type 2A especially. Combined with that smoke grenade so you can close the distance, you can absolutely destroy people. And then the final point, not only is medic strong in its own right, things have been nerfed to make it even stronger, if that makes sense, because if you weaken something else, even if it stays the same, it's going to become stronger within that class set. And yeah, the assault weapons to destroy vehicles in Battlefield 5 is very, very underpowered, I think, and especially when the meta plays out with the tanks, it makes it very difficult. Now, recon's kind of stayed the same, so if you're a recon player, this doesn't really affect you. But yeah, I'm just looking at kind of the assault. It's definitely seen a big nerf in Battlefield 5, in my opinion. Anyway, that concludes my thoughts. I just thought I'd share that with you today. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and feelings to whether you think the medic's one of the best classes in the game, or whether it has a considerable leg up over the other classes in Battlefield 5. I think it does, but yeah, let me know your thoughts. If you did enjoy this kind of running commentary, first time trying it, be sure to give me a like so I know that you like this type of content, and yeah, subscribe to the channel to keep notified. Anyway, thanks for listening, hope you have a great day, and yeah, peace out everyone.